Star Trek NFTs. Down. To start with an up this week, Orla Brady was just brilliant. I am obviously, okay, get ready for a shock. I'm an Irishman, and so I'm always delighted when I see the Irish represented in Star Trek. O'Brien must suffer so that the rest of us can enjoy it. Unfortunately, and please don't take this personally to my lovely American friends out there, but they've stripped her of her poor Irish accent. But she shows this week that she is still well capable of delivering the goods even in an American accent. Throughout this whole episode, I really like her interplay with Jean-Luc. Like Patrick Stewart and Orla Brady just seem to have this ease with each other, which has really helped to engage with the characters. Now she's obviously played both Laris and Talon. Talon seems to be much more at ease than Laris was because, well, when we saw Laris, she was dealing with her feelings for Picard and then her at least perceived rejection by Picard. So, understandable, she was not having the best day of it. Whereas Talon doesn't have those kind of worries. She does pick up on the fact that Picard keeps calling her Laris, so they do address the fact that perhaps she is an ancestor, but then as he says, well, you know, she's Romulan, so probably not. The fact that they're saying she's probably not an ancestor itself is probably a red herring because, I mean, they're both Orla Brady, so, you know. Well, not to say that the same actor can't play two completely different roles. Diana Muldaur played 3 completely different roles in Star Trek. But I do like that they at least addressed it. I just want to give a down to the flashback gimmick. 34 minutes earlier, 20 odd minutes earlier. So overdone and cliched. I don't feel it was necessary. So as you know, this is being recorded in the wake of the season 3 trailer announcement. You know, all the cast is coming back, everyone's great and everything. He's gonna be fine. He's gotta be fine. If anyone has plot armor in this season, it's Picard. So that, for me, it just felt like a completely unnecessary thing to add to the episode. Now I'm gonna continue my trend up. Directed by Jonathan Frakes. Nice and simple. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you set down the gauntlet like I have, Jonathan Frakes directing gets an up. There we are. I don't make Frakes rules, I merely enforce them. Once everyone is inside this event, everyone sort of splits off a little bit. But what I must give a wonderful up to this week is the double team. That is the Borg Queen and Agnes Jurati. They're just brilliant together. Annie Wersching and Alison Pill are just, they have this great comedy act, even though there's not a lot of jokes going on. There is humor in it, but it is a very much butting heads type of relationship, and yet they're so great together. They're so engaging. They are easily my favorite part of this episode. Their interplay, the fact that they're just well, obviously not casually, but yeah, okay, they're just casually at a black tie function together, and you have the Borg Queen in all of her regalia, and everyone else is covered in ball gowns and tuxedos, and it just, yeah, like, I just didn't think that seeing the Borg next to black tie would work so well, and yet it does. There's the comment on the fact that everyone's paying attention to Jurati. Jurati says, it's the dress. The Queen says, no, it's us. And the Queen is right, because Jurati is carrying herself with so much more confidence than we've ever seen before, because they're now 2 of 1. Hello, title of the episode. They very much are the centerpiece of this story. Now, while there's other very important plot pieces happening around them, this is an episode about Jurati and the Queen, and I think it delivers very well on that. Now, I said that obviously the group sort of spreads out a little bit in the room. Unfortunately, I do have a down for Raffi and Rios' conversation by the bar. Rios is completely at ease. Actually, I love Santiago Cabrera in this episode, is brilliant, right? And really, I mean that. I realise I'm speaking about a down right now. His ease, his comfort, his enjoyment of this era. He pulls out the cigar. He's just he's just enjoying himself. Raffi, unfortunately, she's been given the short straw of she has to be the naysayer, she has to be the one who has to deal with the fallout from Elnor. We get a cameo from Evan Avagora this week, and she's sort of the voice of doom and gloom, and it's getting a little bit old. But specifically in this scene, I mean, she's like, you can't think of going back to that clinic. You absolutely can't think of going back and meeting Teresa again. Rios is talking about how wonderful Teresa is, and also Rios is correct, Teresa is wonderful. But yeah, she's like, you can't go back. He has to. He left his comm badge there. Like, did they just forget about the fact that he left the like, they did a massive close-up of this comm badge as he was being arrested, and we just haven't addressed it ever since. It's possible that Seven and Raffi picked it up when they went to the clinic that time, sure, but that was not shown. And Rios does seem to have a communicator, as in he approaches Jurati and says, is your communicator not working? Picard's trying to contact you. So, okay, but that's leaving a lot up to assumption when you did such a close-up shot of the comm badge sitting in the clinic like you did Star Trek. Yeah, that for me was a bit like, you can't possibly go back. Okay, if you had added a scene of them retrieving the comm badge. You haven't added that scene. This is a plot hole. I'm going to put another down in here. So I love Orla Brady and Patrick Stewart together. As I've said, it's fantastic. But Talon asks a question that is nonsensical, which is Renee is up by the bar and she's slamming shot after shot. Like, I'm Irish. I know how to drink. That's impressive. Like, the fact that she's able to form sentences after what she's drinking. Like, well done. Well done, I couldn't do it. When Talon and Picard are speaking about Renee, Talon asks the question, what if Q is right? What if she's not ready? Talon, the fact that people have come back from the future to ensure that Renee gets on that flight is your proof that Q is wrong. That was a down. That was a silly question. It was a question that didn't need to be asked. You have this conversation between Jean-Luc and Renee coming up. That addresses any doubts or fears that anyone might have toward Renee being ready for the mission. Having Talon ask the question suggests that Talon completely missed the point of everyone coming back in time. And I think at this point, it was a very redundant question. And that for me, it was a down because I went, really? Really? Come on now. Now it's been all doom and gloom for a minute. Up, and a massive up for Alison Pill, who is, on episode 6 of the season, Alison Pill is my MVP of Picard season 2. Such a revelation this season. I have made no secret of the fact I did not care for Jurati in season 1. I thought very weak characterization. It was very much, she was kind of a means to an end character. It's like, oh, well, kind of, we need to get her on the ship. We need to kill Maddox. We need this to happen. There wasn't really much point. They've clearly gone away and thought, right, what can we do with this character? We have Alison Pill, who is fantastic. What do we do with this wonderful resource? And they came out swinging. She is just incredible, but particularly this episode because she's playing the dual role now of Jurati and the Queen. Because we have Annie Wershing playing the Borg Queen, but we also have Alison Pill must play both in the one body. Yeah, I will hold my hand up and say that if you'd asked me this after season 1, did I think that they would be able to pull this off? I would have been like, based on what I've seen, probably not. Well, Sean, shut your mouth and slap your face because, oh my God. And also, Alison Pill can sing. Also, kudos to everyone in the room for just going with it. Like, oh my God, the lights all shut off. Special guest singer. I'm living for this. That's, we had Isa Briones singing Blue Skies in season 1. We had Alison Pill singing this in season 2. Chris raised a very good question. Why not have her sing Blue Skies? Which is a good question, but it's nice to have a little bit of range as well. I'm also really tempted to, oh, go on, another up for that lighting guy. All of the lights in the room shut off, but there was that one zealous guy operating a spotlight who was like, no, this is my time to shine. Boom! Jurati, it's your moment. Another up in this episode is Renee and Jean-Luc's conversation. I loved it because Jean-Luc, he can't reveal why he's there, but he can be a supportive figure for her when she needs it, which she clearly does right now. Wants to do this, she wants to be a part of history, but her own demons are standing in her way. I think that this was a wonderful depiction of how one's own anxiety, one's depression, one's fears can overtake one's confidence. Because the confidence is there, and all she needs is a hand just held out to her, which she willingly takes, because she just needs to be reminded of her own skills. I loved this entire scene. I loved the setting, and actually there's a fair few bits now in this that will be coming back in citation observations, because keep your eyes peeled in this scene. But I really, really enjoyed this entire exchange. It didn't feel like, well, we have to say X to get to Y. It felt like an actual organic conversation between two fully fleshed out characters, which for a show that's dealing with, we know next to nothing about Renee. Penelope Mitchell has been great, but we haven't had much room with her. And this felt like two old friends who'd known each other for years. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful performance from both actors. It was wonderfully written. And I have to say now, I was seriously impressed with that entire exchange. Obviously, we have the return of Brent Spiner as Adam Sung in this episode. We have the exchange on the floor between himself and Picard. At this point in time, we think, yep, he's up against a rock and a hard place here. He's got to do these things, which culminates in him running Picard over with a car, which is, in a way, that's interesting because there's no way he doesn't get caught for that. If in 2022 you'd identify him like that, so in 2024 you're going to know who he is straight away. But all right, so that's when we start getting the flashback thing, which I'm not a fan of. That's fine. Rios says something very, very strange. They're all standing over Picard, and we need to look after him. Talon asks, "What about your ship?" And Rios goes, "Oh, a biobed is not a doctor." Okay, yet it was the only thing that could keep Eleanor alive. I think a biobed with 24th century technology is still gonna be better than a clinic in the 21st century. That's a down. And not just because of the logic gap, but because we had that bit with Eleanor as well. So that was a down for me. However, that down brings me to an up. Teresa's back. Up. I love Saul Rodriguez. She's brilliant. She was great in the other episodes. She's great in this episode. I know why they can't do this. You can't tell her the truth. You can't tell her that Jean-Luc is a synth. But I mean, that does feel like pretty critical need to know information, but yeah, no, you can't tell her that. Timelines. Right now, they're just a bunch of eccentrics walking into her clinic and she needs to help them. Fair, that's great. But anyway, Saul Rodriguez is back. Teresa is great. Love that exchange. We're the good guys. Yeah, the good guys don't need to say that. She's not wrong. I'm afraid I've got two downs in quick succession. The first down is Corey's scene of going through these files and discovering that, Sung was obviously into eugenics, which is obviously, we knew this was coming. And it's more the gimmick of she's talking to herself, asking these questions. Who am I? What does this mean? What is this? I talk to myself on the regularly. I actually find I sometimes have quite interesting things to say. Sure thing. Talking to yourself is not the problem. It's the fact that this is so obviously hanging a lampshade on this. Oh, we need her to voice these questions, otherwise the audience won't get it. We get it. We get it. That was a down. Cliche. The next down is that with this revelation, I understand the paradox here. I just said, oh, we all saw this was coming, but with this revelation, you strip Sung of an awful lot of his sympathy, because you've seen his exchange with Corey and you see that he appears to be a loving father who's willing to go to the ends of the earth to protect his daughter. Here, he is a scientist who wants a successful experiment. It robs him of so much sympathy as a character. Now he's just a villain, And it's like, oh, okay, right. Have we ever had a good Sung? Alton Inigo Sung, I know very little about you, so, right, we'll say jury's out on AI Sung for a minute, but Noonien was a prick. Yeah, sure, he built data, but fine, he also built lore, yes, all right, lore killed him, fine, isn't a good guy. Arik Sung, prick, and now Adam Sung, prick. Maybe it's like, we know Brent Spiner can play a villain, and he can, Like, Brent Spiner, actually, he is not the problem in this episode. He's actually very, very good in this episode. I have to say, I really like him as Adam Sung. I feel like this was a annoying revelation that wasn't needed. Could she not have been, for example, himself and a partner, they conceived a child together and, you know, had this illness, and his entire work has been about saving this one child. No, now she's come off an assembly line and he's like, oh, well, I just want to make sure that, you know, she makes it to adulthood. It's suggested, or at least I got the suggestion that there is some sort of rapid aging going on as well. I might be totally wrong on that one. But yeah, I got the suggestion that she doesn't actually, bit like Soji, to be honest, you know, she's not quite as old as she looks. I feel this was not the best decision, if I must be honest. Because what they had last week was a very sympathetic character who's backed up against a wall. Now you have a villain who's been thrown, you know, kind of lifeline by another villain, and down. What are Raffi and Seven doing this season? Why are they here? Raffi she seems to be here to do the opposite of what everyone feels it needs to be done. You know, if Raffi had not left La Serena the way she did originally and waited 5 or 10 minutes, they would have found out where the Watcher was, what they needed to do, God have found them. That storyline did give us Teresa, so, you know, I can't completely down it, but there was no real point to Raffi and Seven's story there. Just like there's no real point to Raffi and Seven in this episode. Now, we're clearly building up, there's something, Raffi is dealing with PTSD, and she keeps seeing Elnor everywhere. You know, Michelle Hurd, it's not the performance, it's the, what is the point of them? You know, an excellent point, Chris raised an excellent point that, you know, we have Picard on the bed, you know, Talon's talking about going into his mind, and Raffi's like, no, absolutely not. And Talon's like, you know, who knows anything else about this god? Who knows, the only person who knows anything about Q is in this coma. Seven standing back there going, hello. Yeah, I've met him several times. Yeah. Hello. Seven met him several times. She's the only one outside of this group, or the only ones who are awake, who've actually met Q. Like, could we talk to Seven? Give her something to do. Because right now, I love the way Jerry Ryan has played the character this season. She's really engaging, she's really fun, and, you know, she's clearly having a ball playing human 7 of 9. That's great, I'm enjoying seeing this. What is the point? So that's it. I know how harsh I'm coming across. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, I am, but yeah, we're looking for points to the episode. And that sort of, to be very fair, that sort of ties into as well of, you know, the sort of the what's Q up to, / why is Raffi just giving out to people, / why is Seven here? It's sort of all amalgamating at this point. And it's getting a little bit like, you know, kind of, we're on episode 6 now, guys. Come on, what's going on? However, episode 7 of season 1 gave us Nepenthe. So, you never know. Up. The imagery in this episode. Oh, I have to say, you know, Frakes, good directing. It looked fantastic. You have Girardi walking out into that spotlight. Fantastic. Girardi and the Queen, all the reflections, but particularly either side of the Europa starship in that column, I just thought it was really striking, really, really stunning imagery. Even some of Picard's flashbacks to what's going on with his mother, again, really, really jarring but strong imagery. It was very much so that I was a few times in this, I was like, ooh, hello. Oh yes, that's quite pretty. Oh, I like that. So yeah, well done everyone on that. Now, if you would care to join me, let's take an L trip to Cetacean Observations. This week, what I tried to do is look a little bit closer, because last week I missed the fact that Rene Picard's birthday was the release date for Star Trek First Contact. Sake. When we see Rios's fake ID, I did a little bit of a pause, and we have Carl Leonard Kelly is the name. Leonard as in Leonard McCoy, Kelly as in DeForest Kelly, and Carl as in Carl Urban. And to which the security guard goes, "You don't look like a Southern heart surgeon." Oh. Now, his updated ID has the birthday the 5th of May 1978. Happy birthday, Santiago Cabrera. It's his actual birthday in real life. There is a question that Picard asked Talon is, who's watching the Watcher? So that, to me, was a reference to Who Watches the Watchers, the third season episode where Picard engages with the Mintakans. Raffi, of course, who is still recovering as an addict, sees this bottle of bourbon from Fort Collins, Colorado. This may be a reach, but Erin MacDonald, who is a technical consultant on Star Trek Lower Decks and Star Trek Discovery, was born in Fort Collins, Colorado. The music playing in the background one scene is The Way You Look Tonight, which of course played over the final montage in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's episode What You Leave Behind. There is a model of the Nomad probe from the original series episode The Changeling, which was built by Jackson Roykirk, which of course was where we first encountered Renee Picard this season. The First Contact theme plays after Jurati finishes her song, and the Borg Queen goes, well, that was a nice little shot of endorphins, and we get that wonderful Jerry Goldsmith music playing as well. I am loving the love that Star Trek Enterprise is getting these days, because Renee and Jean-Luc talk about the OV-165 starship that's hanging above them as a model, which of course we've only ever seen before in the opening credits of Star Trek Enterprise. I've got faith of the heart, do you? When Kore, what just happened there is like, when Issa Briones, no. When Soji, no. When Dash, no. When Kore, God, pick a name! When Kore is reading about the experiments that Adam's son has gone through, the two articles that she reads are written by Casey Felt and Noah Schloss. Now they are both graphic designers for Twisted Media, who have done a lot of the production on Star Trek Picard. These failed experiments, we cycle through names of the classics. We have Persephone, which is the other name for Kore. We have Artemis, we have Despoina as well. So all of these from antiquity are being named out there. We have Talon uses, now I'm calling it a sonic screwdriver when she's looking into Picard's brain, but really it's the same device that Gary Seven was using back in Assignment Earth. And of course she talks about a jury-rigged mind meld. That is everything for our list today. What do you think of Picard Season 2 so far? And particularly, now that we've seen the reveal of Picard Season 3 coming up, how do you feel it's stacking up? Let us know in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and remember that you can catch us over on Twitter at Trek Culture. You can catch myself at Sean Ferrick on Twitter, on Instagram and TikTok, where I drop little daily tidbits about Star Trek. Whatever you're doing till I'm talking to you again, look after yourself, look after your friends and family, stay safe, stay well. Live long and prosper, my friends in Ukraine. Please be well. We are thinking of you. Let's look forward to a brighter future together. Thanks very much.